Hey everyone, if you want live interactive classes, please join through the links which I have provided in the description of this class. Okay, welcome to Fresh Library YouTube channel. Today in this session, we are going to discuss about the interview questions of Python on uh, integer and float data types. Integer and float data types. Okay, so before proceeding into today's session, let's have an overview of what we have discussed in the last class. What we have discussed in the last class. Okay, so in the last class, we have discussed about Python interview question and answers on identifiers and keywords. Okay, so what are identifiers? Um, and what are the valid and invalid examples of Python identifiers, keywords in Python, how many keywords are there in Python. So how many? There are 35 plus keywords in Python. It's change depends upon the version also, version of the present Python we are using. And how to get list of all keywords. For getting list, we need to write like import keyword and keyword.kw list. And next one are Python keywords or case sensitive. As case sensitive means we have to use uh, small a to z as small a to z only, capital A to z as capital A to z only. And can we use Python keywords as variable names? No, because if you use like that, then it will give errors. Then it will give error. Okay, till here we have discussed in the last class. Now we are going to discuss about the interview question and answers on integer and float data type. Integer and float data types. Data types. Okay. So, and here, if you want to the detailed explanation of these integer and float data types, then you can go for our Fresh Library YouTube channel, or you can hit on the below channel name of a Fresh Library. Then you can go to the you are able to see the our channel videos, and you can go to Python playlist. Then you can find the videos or classes which are related to identify these integer and float data types. Integer and float data types. And I am going to provide the description of these integer and float data types. Okay, I am going to provide the links of these integer and float data types classes in our class description. Okay, so here I am going to show you. Yeah, integer data type and float data type. Okay, I'm going to provide these three class links in the description of our video. We can watch from here, then you will get some idea. Then again you can come to the interview question and answer. Because if you are new to our channel, hit the subscribe button. And if you see the direct interview question and answers on these integer and floated data types, you may get confusion. So that's why if you proceed with the basic classes or regular classes, then if you follow our interview question and answers, then it is easy to get uh, some idea. Okay. And here it is an interview question and answer sessions, right? So I'm not going to explain in depth on these interview question and answers. Just I will give an interview question and answers, and just some basic explanation, just some basic explanation. Okay, coming back to our session, uh, the first question on these integer and float data types is, see here, I am going to write here, what is the, yeah, what is the difference difference between, what is the difference between int and, int means integer, int and float in Python, float in Python. Okay, so the answer for this question is, uh, int represents whole numbers. Okay, like digits 1 2 3 4, like that, without a decimal point. Decimal point means, just here I am writing this, one is an whole number. Okay, and see here, uh 22 or 33, these are the numbers. But if you add zero point 0 values to the these numbers, then it will comes as a decimal numbers. It will treat as a decimal numbers. Okay, so and sorry, if you add these zero point 0 values, then it will consider as an float data types. Okay, not only zeros, you can also add one, two, or any number after this dot point or a point. Okay, then those are called as an float data types. Integer means direct numbers without a decimal point. Okay, without a decimal point. So these point 2, point 0, point 1 are called as an decimal points. If you remove these values, point 1, point 2, then those will be called as an integers. If you put these decimal points, then those will be called as an integer data type. If you put dot values, then it is called as an float data type. If you remove the dot values, then it is considered as an integer data type. Okay, so here int represents whole numbers, whole numbers without a decimal point. Without a decimal point. Okay, for example, like 10.0, okay, 2.5, like that. And when coming to the float Um, so it is an example. So here it is not an example. Wait. Yeah. Now coming to float data type. A float represents real numbers with decimal point. With decimal point. Wait. Decimal point. Okay. Are in the exponential. Exponential form. So these are the float values. Okay. So we don't need to consider these dot values. If we consider these values, that we consider as a float data values. Okay. Example 5.2 or 8.7. We can also take minus values also. Minus 5.0 or 1 like that. Okay. These are the examples of float data values. And here the second question is um, how do you check the type of a variable in Python? Means whether it is an integer or whether it is an float, whether it is an string, whether it is an bool or okay. So how do you check which type of data it is? Okay, that is the question. How do you check the type of a variable? How do you check the type of a variable in Python? Of course, we are discussing about Python only. So the answer for this question is uh, let me try with the practical example. Okay, so here I am going to take some a value a equal to 10. Okay, and now I want to print the which type of variable it is. Okay, so now I want to type print of okay print of type of a variable we have given here a only, right? This is the called as a variable, so we are given like that. So it is an integer type because we had given numbers. Numbers means integer only, right? Okay. For suppose if you give b equal to sorry wait b equal to some 4.13. Now I want to print type of B. Okay, print of type of B. Now it is considered as float data type. These are the examples of that question. Answer are examples. Answers with examples. Okay. Okay. Next, third question. Third question is, what happens when you perform a arithmetic between an int and a float? So if you want to do some arithmetic operations on these integer and float, then what will happen? That is the question. So what happens when you perform? These are the basic interview questions. Okay, when you perform arithmetic between an int and a float. Okay, what will happen if you perform an arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division? Okay, so here what happens when you perform arithmetic between an int means integer and a float? Okay, so answer, the result will be a float, because if you give integer values but it has to generate float for the given number. Okay, so because we had performed then arithmetic operation in between integer and float, right? That's why the answer must and should be a float. The answer must and should be a float. So Python automatically promotes integer to float. Okay, integer into a float value. We can also do this by, in practical way. Okay, so first I'm writing the answer for this question, then I will do some practicals on this same question. The result will be the result will be a float. Okay, the result will be a float, and Python automatically converts okay, Python automatically converts integer into to float for precision value. For precision, otherwise I will write this line in next line, this in next line. Okay, okay, precision. Okay, let's do it in practical. Now forget about the above steps. Okay, so here I'm going to take a equal to 5, and the term b variable is I'm taking b equal to some 2.0 something like that. So yeah, the above a I had taken as integer and b has taken as a float value. And now let's do the arithmetic operation in between these two. See what will happen. Print of x plus y. Print of x plus y. Sorry, print of a plus b. See above we had taken a and b, right? So 7.0. Okay, this is then whether it is an integer or float, it will be a float. Integer means no decimal points, no decimal values. Okay, so but here it is considered it is showing zero point 0 value, so it is considered as a float data type. Okay, now so let's paste this in our uh, answer. And now so this is the output, right? So that's why I'm keeping hash symbol. Next, the fourth question. So how can you convert into to float and vice versa? So we need to convert these question is considered in data type conversions. Data type conversions. We can convert integer to float, float to integer, or integer to bool, string, integer to string, like that. So these are comes under in string conversions or data type conversions. So here the question is, how can you convert into to float and vice versa? So we need to convert here integer into float value and float data type into integer. Mm. So okay. So the answer for this question is into to float use first we are converting into to float. So float of a given value. Float of given value. Okay. And from float to int. First we had converted integer into float, then we are converting a float to int value. Float to int. So for converting float to int, we need to take integer of a given value. Int of given value. Let's do it practically. Uh, I want to take fresh. ideally for this. So for better understanding, now float of float of uh, 3. Now the answer part output will be 3.0. And now I want to convert a integer of a float value, int of integer of 5.5. So the answer will be 5. Okay. Okay. This is the output, right? So that's why I'm keeping hash symbol for better understanding. Every time if I keep hash symbol, that means that the remaining will be the output of the given input. Okay. Next, the fifth question. What is the range of int and float in Python? Range means how many values it can handle, how many values it can display, how many values it can display. So here, what is the wait? What is the range of int and float in Python? What is the range of int and float in Python? So the answer for this question is for int type, there is no fixed limit. There is no limit. Okay. No fixed limit. No fixed limit. It depends upon memory. Okay. And what about this float is sorry. Float follows it follows IEEE 754. It is in one of the format. So double precision. Double precision. Okay. It's typically maybe we can't give exact value. Okay. It follows IEEE 754 standards. Okay. Next, sixth question. Is Python int of fixed size? Is Python int of fixed size? Means integer data type. We are having integer data type in Python, right? So he is asking whether is integer data type having any fixed size? Fixed size. So answer for this question is no. It is not having any fixed size. So and if you use Python 3 supports, they grow as needed, limited only by a memory. So it is also limited by a memory. Okay. And Python 3 supports uh, any length. Okay, any length. Okay. Or Python 3 uh, doesn't have any fixed length. Doesn't have any fixed length. Okay. Next, coming to the seventh question. The seventh question is what will int of some number and float of some number will return. So if you give some number to the as integer and some number as a float, then what will be their respected output? So here, what will int of sorry int of 10.5 and r float of float of. Now consider here, he is giving the colons for the two values. Okay, so if you give the value in between these two columns, then they will give error. They will give an value error. So float of some text he is giving. So some text. Okay, return. They will raise value error. So answer for this question is they will rise value error. Let's do it practically. Of course, obviously it will give error only. So now I want to do int of which way he has given in between these columns. He has given 10.5, right? So let's see. So here he has given numbers as an strings. That's why it is given error. And also here float also float of which he had given text, right, in between these. So it will also give error. Okay, we can copy paste these in our running nodes. Otherwise, if you are unable to find the unable to understand, then let's I want to remove this one. Yeah, it has given value error, first one. Okay, now for this also is enough. We don't need to mention everything here. Okay, next, eighth question. How to round float to a certain number of a decimal places? How to round? Round means we have to give some round values like if you give so much decimal numbers as its input, like 1.454545 and so on, and if you give the values like a equal to 10.5555 like that, then there is no we are having so many decimal numbers. At this time we need to round one to one value. So he is asking how to round that value. How to round means if if you are giving 10.55545 10.45 or 10.1234, but we want only one or two digits of a decimal number, then we need to round that value, like and the if we round the value, then the output will be 10.12. Okay, 10.12 2.34 like that. Okay, it won't take so many decimal numbers. It will take only one or two decimal numbers. We can take like that. Okay, so how to do that? How to round float to certain number of decimal places. So in order to found do round to know the round values of a given number, then we must use round function. Okay, use sorry use round function. Okay, not functions, it's a function. Okay, so how we are going to do that? Let's take some x equal to, okay, x equal to 5.454567, like, okay, or 424567. Now I want to round the value, so I want to remove these remaining four digits. Yeah, I want to specify only 5.42 only. Then how I am going to do that is of print of round of x comma 2. Okay, now let's see what will happen. So it has removed 4567. It shows only 42. This is the called rounding a value. Okay, now paste this value, input and output here. Output is, yeah, this is the output. And now the ninth question. What is the result of int of true and float of false? If you give input as a true and it will for integer, and if we give a false as input to the float value, then what will be the output? He is asking like that. What is the result? What is the result of int true? Guys, remember here, if you want to give use true or false, then we need to give first letter as capital letters. So that's why I had given here T capital. Okay, if you give as small t, then it won't consider as an keyword for Python. It considered as a normal text. Okay, int of true and float of false. FLO80. Float of false. Okay. So now I'm going to do it practically. Let's reopen this ideally. Give me a second. So here I'm going to take int of true. Okay. So 1. True value is 1. And float value false. False means 0. 0 means 0, 0.0. It will give FLO80 float of false, right? Yeah, false. FLC. Sorry. Float of false. So 0, 0.0. Let's see. These are the inputs and outputs. Okay. float or false. Next, the last question, that is the 10th question. What is the output of 1 by 2 and 1 forward slash 2 and 1 uh, double slash 2? Okay, single slash and double slash. He want to know the difference between the, if you use a single slash, what will the output, if you use double slash, what will be the output. So here, what is the output? What is the output of 1 by 2 and 1 double by 2? Okay, let's do it practically. So yeah, if you give single slash, it will give float values, point values. If you give double slashes, then it will give only single digit value. So now, as per our rule, as per Python's rule, it has to give two values. So 0 0.5, two values. If you consider the same above with the double slash or double by, then it give only single digit value, that is 0 0.0, 0. Okay, a second. The answer for this question is, wait for a second. Output of this is this one. Okay, so let's have an overview of what we have discussed in this class. Okay, so Python interview question and answers on integer and float data types. So the first question is, what is the difference between int and float in Python? So int represents whole numbers without a decimal point like this. If we consider the decimal values like point 0, point 7, point 2, then that consider as um, float values. And the second question, how do you check? So here I am going to write, I want to take this one. Wait. Sorry. Now the output of this is, wait. Okay. And the output of this is, okay. So How do you check the type of a variable in Python? So for checking a type of variable, we need to write like a type of the variable name. Okay, then it will automatically gives which type data type we have given. Okay, and what happens when you perform arithmetic between an int and float? If you perform int and float arithmetic operations, then the value is converted into float data type, and the final result will be a float value only. And next, how can you convert into to float and vice versa? So in order to convert any data type into any data type, then we need to write the which data type we want to convert. Then we need to specify the data type. Like if you want to consider convert into integer, then int of. If you want to consider float value, then we have to take float of. Okay. Next, what is the range of int and float in Python? So here int means no fixed limit. Int doesn't have any fixed limit, and float it follows IEEE standards, IEEE 754 standards. And is Python int of a fixed size? No. So integer in Python, integer doesn't have any fixed sizes. Okay. And what will be the int of the given number and float of a given text? So if you give like that, then the Python will give left and right, means value error, because it has it has given like an string type. Next, how eighth question, how to round float to certain number of decimal places? So if you want to remove the extra decimal places except the first two, then you have to you have to give the number here, round off how many decimals you want to consider, then you have to give the number. Now here I want to take only 4 2, that's why these are the 4 to us 2 values, right? That's why I had given here 2. Okay, if you want to consider 4 values, then we need to consider we have to write here 4. X comma 4 means then the output will be 4 to 4 5. So here I had given only 2, so that's why it is given 4 2 only. And the ninth question, what is the result of int of true and float of false? So true means 1 and false means 0. And here we have to consider whenever we are going to give true or false, then the first letter will be a capital letter. Okay, the first letter will be a capital letters. Otherwise, it won't consider that true and false as um, keywords of Python. It consider that as a normal words only, normal text only. Okay. Next, what is the output of 1 by 2 and 1 double by 2, or 1 is double slash 2? So if you give single slash, then it will give uh, digits, I mean decimal point values like float. If you give double slashes, it will give only single digits. Okay, it will give only single digits. Okay, so I hope this video is helpful for you. If you found if you find this video, then smash that like button. Want to stay updated with our latest content, hit subscribe. Got any questions or doubts, drop them in the comments. We are here to help. Know someone who's struggling to kickstart their IT career? Share this video and make a difference. uh, Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.